What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to just be continuing the backtesting session on gold using my very simple structure and liquidity based strategy. Before we get into the video though, I'd appreciate it if you guys could like the video so that I know whether or not to make more of these types of videos or do other types instead. But let's not waste any more time. Let's head over to the charts and let's get right into it. Alright guys, so let's continue with where we left off last time. Last time we got to the 20th of January. And like I said, we're going to be doing a whole year's worth of testing all the way up until 2024. So let's zoom out to the daily and start our analysis. So we're going to actually go out to the weekly to see where price is currently trading. So very clearly from last time, price was very bullish after taking out some of these weekly lows and coming into this sort of weekly demand to the left. It has actually now though traded into this sort of weekly supply zone. So I am overall still bullish on gold, but we could see some sort of reaction from this level and some shorter term sells if the lower time frame presents a nice sort of confirmation within this region. So if we go down to some of the lower time frames, let's have a look at the current structure. So the 1 hour, this is the cleanest in my opinion. We have mitigation of demand followed by another breaker structure. So this is your current sort of trading range which you would look to trade within. But like I said, anywhere within this, let's make this blue, anywhere within this sort of blue region, we could start to see some minor corrections back down to some previous liquidity levels. I'm also going to refine this actually to this sort of daily level just because that weekly area was quite a big zone. But yeah, we could also look to capitalize on some buys up into that zone because obviously price at the moment is still structurally very bullish. So if we're looking to buy up to that zone, I'd probably look to buy from maybe this demand that we have just there, or we could also see perhaps a more discounted level. Not currently seeing any real actually you could say this one. So these are the sort of two buy-in points of interest that I would look at. We've left these equal highs up there as well, so not expecting a reversal just yet. Okay, nice. So price has come into that first zone. So we go over to the 5 minute and we look for a potential entry. So actually this would be quite nice. So we've had sweep of these lows, change of character, and then you've got this sort of demand zone down here. So I'm going to set a limit on this level. That would be our first trade. Stops slightly below, and we're going to be targeting a 1 to 3 mechanical risk to reward target like we were doing last time. There we go. So all I'm doing here for the take profit, I'm simply dragging the risk to reward tool to a 1 to 3 with stops below the low. Okay, so this is now invalid. We didn't really get a pullback into a valid zone, but we have now also just broken past this structure once again. And I'm also going to delete this zone because that's no longer valid. But yeah, still anticipating that we could see a reaction from this blue zone, so just keeping an eye out for that. Okay, price hasn't yet got there though, so we could still look for some more buys up into it. Maybe from this zone, now that you've had a sweep of this. So maybe one more grab of these lows down here. See if we get that. Okay, so there we go. We've had another grab of these lows. Let's see if we can get potential entry from here. Okay, it has started to break some structure. Maybe you could look for a pullback into this zone. And then again, simple 1 to 3 target around here. Looks like it's going to miss us again. Still going to keep this on for a minute. Okay, so we're tagged in. And fine. That was our first loss. Valid trade. Nothing really wrong with that. It just looks like price wants to come slightly lower. Again, it hasn't yet tapped into that daily supply, so I doubt this is going to be a reversal. Right, I'm liking that actually. So you've now grabbed all of these lows, tapped into this sort of demand. That was the one we originally deleted as well, the more discounted region. Clear change of character on the 5 minute. You've created this sort of demand zone as well, which is looking quite nice. So I'm going to set a limit here, and I'm going to have stops just below this imbalance. 1 to 3 once again, so aligns quite nicely with that high right there. There we go, so we're tagged into that. It's looking nice so far. Let's see if we can get a run up into those highs. Cool, so there we go. First winning trade, 1 loss, 1 win so far. Pretty decent. So let me just explain that trade a little bit more before we head on to the next one. So what I saw was that price hadn't yet tapped into that daily supply, so we were expecting buys up into it. Price pulled back into this discounted sort of demand zone and filled in the imbalance as well. Took out all of these previous lows, then it started to push up on the hourly. On the 5 minute, we had a very clear change of character just there. Pull back into imbalanced demand, and then you also had some sort of liquidity above that zone as well. So very simple stuff. Every single trade of mine is exactly the same, and those are the same criteria which I use on every trade. So what I'd look for now is buys up into this high. Because price hasn't swept that yet and we sort of formed these equal highs with it, I would look for some buys up into it. So either you see price buy from this zone, or we could also look at this slightly more discounted level. I doubt this first one is going to give a valid entry though, because there's not enough structure. Yeah, there we go. So price just rallied straight into the high. Being cautious now because it is approaching that daily supply zone. There we go. So we have now tapped into that daily supply. Because this is such a higher time frame point of interest, and because it is quite a big area, for this I would use the 15 minute for a valid confirmation. Okay, so you've sort of seen, you could say this is a change of character, but the main structure you're looking at is this low, because you've had this low put in a new high. This right here is just simply like an internal structure, so it's not too high probability in my opinion. You've also now seen price sort of sweep previous lows into this extreme demand, so this is not a valid confirmation for sells in my opinion. More likely a sweep of the lows into the demand, and what I would anticipate now is price to make its way back up into these previous highs, and then you could potentially see the sell-off. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to slightly not shift my bias. I think it's always best to not keep a bias, but instead react to what price is showing you. So I'm going to react to what price is showing me here, and instead of looking to get in on the sells, I'm going to look to get in on some buys. and think we could see some buys maybe at this extreme demand. The reason is we swept lows into that demand to the left. Price gave us our change of character. You have all of this imbalance, and then you obviously have this extreme demand down here. So I'm going to set a limit on this zone, stop slightly below in case price wants to re-grab that low. And again, 1 to 3 target. If you wanted a more discretionary TP rule though, you could obviously target this high because that is the current trend high. So we're going to set that, and I'm going to play it on the 15-minute. You've now got some nice liquidity resting above that zone as well. There we go. So that trade is tagged in. Let's have a look at how it reacts on the lower time frame. So if we wanted to wait for another confirmation in this zone, I would now be waiting for a break of this high. But because we already are in that initial trade, I wouldn't look to re-enter this. Yeah, so there you go. You did get a nice confirmation just there. If I was looking to enter this and I wasn't in that initial position, I would probably look for something like this. The stop loss is quite big on that though, so the risk to reward wouldn't be that great. Let's see if that would have been tagged in. No, so that would have missed anyway, but good analysis regardless. And there we go. So that also hit take profit. And yeah, price is a bit messy now, but still expecting it to come up and sweep that high at least. Yeah, so there you go. You've had another break of structure. Also notice now though how this sort of hourly trend and structure has become very sort of obvious. Once you have a very obvious trend like this, where you have, you know, it's very obvious what price is doing. It's pulling back, mitigating demand, push up, break structure, pull back, mitigation of demand, push up, break structure. Once you have like 3 or 4 of these clear higher lows forming, it's very likely that you're going to see some sort of manipulation of the lows for then continuations up. Now that we have also come into this daily demand supply, I am still looking for some sells. So let's keep an eye out and see what happens here. Nothing just yet that I'm seeing. Also being cautious because you've got like all of these equal highs up here. You have sort of reacted from this supply though. So actually, yeah, I think you could see some shorts from here. Let's have a look if we get a confirmation. Did sort of get one there. Okay, I'm going to set this trade. Okay, invalid now. So this became invalid because price broke that low again. Okay, so let's look at where price is. Just swept that liquidity. Just here. So yeah, this is a bit of a weird scenario because it came into our daily supply, it hasn't yet broke structure, and it has swept previous lows. So direction wise, not the clearest, but I think you still have room for price to come down and take out this low. So I'm going to sort of react to price again and see if it presents some sells down into that level. So what I'm doing here is just basically seeing what price reacts to. At the moment, it's sort of reacting to this supply, but we haven't yet seen any lower time frame breaks of structure. Right, so this looks pretty nice actually. So we've had a grab of these highs. You traded into this sort of 15-minute and 30-minute supply. Price has made its way down towards these lows, but those lows have not yet been swept. We have this as a sort of 15-minute point of interest. You could also see price come into this one. And you've obviously flipped back bearish as well internally. This was your change of character. So I'm looking for confirmation in any of those 2 points of interest. There we go. So I'm going to enter this here. Stops slightly above that. And 1 to 3 target as always. There we go. Okay, so no, that was a loss. That is completely fine. So yeah, like I said, this was quite messy, but you do have a decent amount of lows just here, which I think price may likely gravitate towards again. So what could we see now? Either a reaction from here, or maybe price wants to re-grab these highs. Again, just going to react to what it shows us. Let's see if we get a confirmation in this zone or not. Yep, so wants to continue higher. Yeah, maybe now you've had a grab of those previous highs. Clear bearish pressure coming in. Okay, nice. Let's see if we get a retest into this sort of region. If we do, that would be nice for a potential sell into these lows. But again, I'm going to target a 1 to 3. Nope, so that was annoying. That wick slightly missed our entry. Just by a couple of pips. The reason I've deleted the limit, by the way, is because it grabbed those lows. So now our entry essentially becomes liquidity. So you've grabbed this low. Price has started to push. Let's just have a look what it does here. Quite difficult price action right here anyway. As we can see on the 4 hour in particular, quite messy. Still think it has room to sell more though, because it reacted from that daily supply. Maybe if you get a re-grab of those highs. Didn't quite sweep it. So in the live market, this is the sort of low probability conditions which I would try to avoid as much as you can. Let me just get rid of some of these markings to make it clearer. So yeah, ideally when price is moving like this, you just want to avoid any trades and just wait for those more higher probability setups. So what I'm going to look for now, oh there we go, price did it anyway. I was going to look for shorts into that low. Okay, nice. So right, so this actually looks like a reversal to me. So I think you could now see some more buys up into this previous liquidity or up into this high. The reason is we've now taken out all of these previous lows. There's not really any buyers left in the market. You've also swept these 4-hour lows down here. And obviously you've left all of these previous highs. So I'm going to look for some buys up into that level. 15-minute flipped bullish as well, just there. Right, so let's see if we can get an entry on this. Okay, I'm going to set a limit on this region. And we're going to target, again, just a 1 to 3, slightly above all of these highs right here. And ideally we see price create some liquidity above this demand zone as well. Yeah, there we go. So we now have quite a decent amount of previous lows above this level, like so. There we go. Let's see if we could also get a confirmation on the 5-minute. Okay, nice. So if you wanted a confirmation on the 5-minute, you could have maybe looked to enter from this sort of zone if it gets retested. So I would do something like this and have stops just below this zone. But because we are already in that initial position, obviously I wouldn't also be entering this in the live market because I only want to have 1% risk open at any given time. But yeah, there you go. You could have also got in on that confirmation right there, and that would have played out quite nicely. We are still in this more swing position though, so let's keep playing price to see how it plays out. Oh, you've had a regrab at these lows. Could still see another confirmation from there. Let's see. Yeah, so you've now had... This looks pretty nice actually. I'm going to enter this. Stops slightly below that low. 1 to 3. Once again, there we go. So the reason I'm entering this, you've had a regrab of these lows back into that demand. Price broke structure on the 5-minute. Imbalance, clear area of demand, and let's see if we get tagged into that. Okay, that was actually a loss. Cool, there we go. So the swing trade did play out. The first confirmation played out if you just wanted to target these highs. Then price came back, swept all of those previous lows, and also swept our entry one last time. So yeah, in that case, it was actually better to enter just based off a limit rather than waiting for extra confirmation. But yeah, based on this volume now, I'm expecting price to regrab these highs. Yeah, so there we go. Right there, it is still within that daily supply, so I'm going to look for some shorts just here. Yeah, there we go. That's our change of character. I'm just going to enter here because I don't need to wait for a retest on this. And we're going to target a 1 to 3 down here at these if this was the live market and I was doing a discretionary take profit rule, I'd go for these lows. But because we're using a 1 to 3 mechanical take profit rule, I'm just going to set this. There we go. Very nice volume coming in there. And let me just walk you through that trade. I didn't really explain it. So the reason I looked for shorts there was because we swept the top of that daily supply into this sort of imbalance above. 15-minute clearly broke structure. Sweep of these highs, break a structure here. Very clear closure below that previous structure. And based on the momentum, I wasn't expecting a pullback, so I just did market execution. Also looking at some of these previous liquidity levels down here, I thought price would likely go towards them. Yeah, so now next liquidity target is this low. It would be nice if we could get a pullback before that, so we can look to maybe get in on the shorts. So let's see where we could pull back into. So either this supply I would look at, or after a sweep of that previous high, depending on how price reacts. So let's see. Don't think it's swept yet. No, so we formed those equal highs. It hasn't yet taken out that liquidity. Looks like it wants to continue down without taking out that high instead. Yeah, so there we go. Didn't take out our liquidity level. You have now seen a higher time frame change of character. So if we get rid of this, you can see we have this move up was a very clear sweep instead of a break of structure, because you've now had all of this volume come in. Price broke these previous lows just there. So where could we see price head to next? Let's go back onto the daily and look at some potential zones. So yeah, on the weekly, you still obviously have these equal highs up here. So this could just be a pullback for continuations up, which I think is more likely. Daily time frame, I think you could head towards maybe this demand or this one, depending on how price reacts. I personally prefer if price swept those lows, but yeah, let's just look to follow the trend at the moment, look to continue shorting down. There aren't really any points of interest at the moment that I would look to short from. So let's just have a look what price does. Okay, so we've started to see a pullback. You could maybe see sells after sweep of this previous liquidity level. So let's keep an eye out for that. Quite range bound though, which is what you expect after a huge drop like that. There we go. So that level has now been taken. You've also taken out this side of the consolidation range. So people are going to be jumping into buys here, looking to buy up and catch the reversal. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump in sells if we get our lower time frame confirmation. Maybe the high gets taken one more time. Again, this was internal structure, it's not really the main structure, which is why I wouldn't look to sell this just yet. Quite range bound once again. right? So this is where we want to be paying attention. We've had a re-grab of these highs, right? And 5 minute, we want to see this low broken. There we go. So there's our 5 minute confirmation. We could see now price pull back into this region up here, but let's just see if it continues. Yeah, so we just got a continuation down. So now I'm looking for a retest of this. Once you see a big drop like this, what you don't want to do is set a limit like all the way up here, because very often price is not going to pull all the way back up to that level, and if it does, it's probably going to be bullish and re-grab those highs. Notice as well, right here we have so much liquidity below. We have all of this trend line built up. People are looking to get in on a retest of that trend line. People were also buying after a breakout of these highs. So what we want to do is target a 1 to 3, which sort of aligns nicely with this previous low. Let's see if price can retest into our entry. Sorry, that was meant to be a limit order, not market execution. Yeah, so no pullback there. Good analysis though. Kind of expected, to be honest, after all of that liquidity is taken out, you expect just a big drop with not really any pullbacks. But yeah, we've now broken structure once again, so we can continue to look for the shorts after another pullback. Okay, so this looks nice. We've had breaker structure there. Price has pulled back, swept these highs. It's trading within this supply zone as well. So we've got a few reasons to look for shorts from this level. You could also see a grab of this supply zone, but for now, let's just have a look at what price does here. Yeah, there we go. So we took that previous high. You've had 5 minute breaker structure followed by a change of character. So I'm going to look to enter just here. If you wanted a more refined entry, yeah, you could obviously wait for a retest into the supply. But if we can get a 1 to 3 targeting that low, actually we can. I'm going to wait for a pullback into this. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to target past these previous lows. And if we did market execution here, our trade would only be a 1 to 2. My minimum risk to reward is 1 to 3. So I simply don't want to be doing that. But yeah, nice. Looking good so far. Retest into that supply. Just going to play this on the 30 minutes so it's a bit quicker. Cool, so there we go. Again, I'm going to just walk you through that trade before we try and look for another one. So you had this breaker structure that caused me to look for some sells below, sort of between this high and this low, because that was the current trading range. If price broke this high, then you would expect it to break bullish, and then you'd be looking for buys instead. I saw that price had taken out this previous high, and then it had also taken out this one as well. On the 5 minute, you had a clear change of character. So we had push up, pull back, push up. Then we had a new lower low created instead of price continuing that sequence of higher highs and higher lows. We then retested the supply, and then I was looking to short down. Very simple. Like I said, every single trade is exactly the same. We've now had another break just here. So I'm just going to zoom back out to the daily as well to make sure we haven't come into my level yet. So the level I'm looking for price to sweep is this low. After that daily liquidity is taken out, you could see a reversal or a short-term correction for then continuations lower. So here, what can we see? Still looking for shorts. There's not really anything that's too obvious within this region though, in my opinion. Okay, so swept those highs and then pushed down. This looks like news though, so there probably wasn't an opportunity to enter there, which is fine. Right, so we started to see a pullback. Price has not yet taken that low, so this is looking like quite a nice opportunity for us. Also, I'm just going to zoom back out and mark on the structure. So that was your main breaker structure. This is our extreme. So you could see a retest into that maybe, but I doubt price has enough momentum to come up all the way into that zone. You have also just retested into this region. Clear supply. Liquidity has been taken out. You've seen a change of character, but it didn't create any imbalance, so it's not valid for me at the moment. Okay, so this could be nice. We've had a re-grab of those highs. Still in that supply zone. No 5-minute breaks of structure yet though, so keep playing price. Yeah, so that made sense actually. You had equal lows created, sweep of this previous high, but again, not valid for the strategy that we're trading in this video. Could see now a grab of these highs for the shorts. As we can see on the 1 hour, no structure has been taken out yet. Okay, so there we go. That liquidity level was taken. Now we can look for a 5-minute change of character, which we have had just there. Not really seeing any clear zones to enter from though. Actually, we have this 15-minute one. So I'm going to look for a pullback into that. Stops slightly above those highs. 1 to 3 target. Let's see if it can pull back or not. Looks like it's just going to head straight down. Yeah, so there we go. Not really an opportunity to enter there, but the analysis was valid. Nice. Price has now also just taken out that daily liquidity level. So I am going to be a bit cautious with looking for the sells here now. I'm more inclined to look for some buys. So if we just mark that on, we've taken out that daily low just there. So this would be a good opportunity to look for some potential buys if the lower time frame presents it. Okay, I'm going to enter this. I'm going to set a limit there, stops below the low. Ideally, we want to target this high, but I'm going to make it slightly bigger just so it's a 1 to 3. Nice volume so far. I'm going to look to enter a second position as well, just to buy up into this high. Because what we've done now, we've very clearly pushed towards that high. It hasn't yet been taken out. So we could look for a re-entry. Maybe from this demand that price has just come into. You also have all of these clear highs just left above. So let's see if we can get a confirmation inside this zone. Yeah, so pushed up into those highs. You didn't really get a confirmation there though, so not something I would look to take. But yeah, nice. That initial trade did hit take profit. Once again, the reason for the trade, it swept that daily low. On the 15-minute time frame, you then had this change of character. Price pulled back into demand. And then very simply, we just looked to buy based on that. So what can we see now? Let's just zoom out a little bit. So yeah, you've obviously had that daily low taken out. You've sort of tapped into demand as well. You could view this either as a sweep or as a higher time frame change of character. Because you have come into daily demand and swept daily lows, I think this is more likely to be a change of character. You also have that extreme up here where you could potentially see a reaction. So for now, I'm thinking more so some more buys. Where could we see that? Maybe after like this sort of region. Or a sweep of the low. That would also be valid. So let's see if price gives us a confirmation here. Nope, so it looks like it wants to continue down. Could see it maybe come into this zone for the buys instead. Or once again, you could still view this as a sweep. This would be a change of character. In that case, we would look for probably a retest into this supply. So I'm also going to keep that drawn on the chart. Again, I'm not keeping a bias here. I'm just reacting to what price shows me. Just because I think price is going to reverse here because it swept daily lows doesn't mean it has to. So yeah, there we go. Price tapped into our demand. Very obvious reaction, volume coming into the market. This would be your change of character, but price hasn't yet closed above that level. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm looking for retest into this demand. So this is a valid buying opportunity, and ideally we want to not target above that zone. So I'm going to make this a 1 to 3. There we go. Doesn't look like price is going to retest into our zone now. Actually, I think we should have been looking more so at this demand. I'm going to re-enter this. Stops just below there, and gonna wait to see if price gives us a retracement, just so that is a 1 to 3. Okay, there we go. So now it is tagged in. And there we go. So that was a nice trade. If this was the live market, my entry would have been on this demand instead. But because I played price too quickly, that's essentially why I was looking for a retest of this like random looking area. I was just making the trade a 1 to 3. So yeah, it looks a lot more clear on the 30-minute actually as well. Very clear move up, pullback, reaction from this demand just there. What I can see now though is it has grabbed all of these highs, tapped into that supply zone, which is the one which swept this high to the left. So let's have a look if we can get sells here. Doesn't look like it wants to pull back for us. Yeah, so what I'm looking for now, I'm looking for price to come down and take these lows. We have started to pull back as well, so this could be a nice opportunity. Hasn't yet grabbed any highs. Alright, so that trade is now invalid. Price grabbed the previous low. Again, reacting to price because this, like I said, it is still within that daily demand zone, so we could definitely see a reversal here. You have had price coming quite correctively into this zone as well. You have grabbed that initial touch of the zone. Cool, I'm going to mark this on as our hourly breaker structure as well. There we go, so that's our 15-minute change of character. Price is now flipped bullish on the 15-minute. So if we get a pullback into this sort of imbalance, that would be quite nice. And then I'm going to look to enter and target a 1 to 3. There we go, so we're tagged in. Cool, loss on that one. Again though, as long as price is within this daily demand, I'm still considering buying opportunities. So just going to refine it to that zone. Yeah, damn. So I think our entry was just a little bit early. You have now grabbed those lows. Price flipped bullish again. Right, so that would be our, yeah, so even the hourly now has flipped bullish. So let's see if we can get a pullback to long. I'm going to look to enter from this zone. Stops just below that low, and we're going to go for a 1 to 3 as always. There we go. Nice, our trade is now tagged in. Clear reaction so far. If I was looking for a confirmation in this zone, I would look for a retest of this, and actually I'm going to scale into this initial position. Again, 1 to 3 target. Okay, so this becomes invalid now because it broke the high. Cool, nice. So that was a clear, very clean trade. Again, the reason, prices in this daily demand, we swept these lows, very clear sweep of the lows. Price broke structure, very clear momentum coming in. We then pulled back into an imbalanced demand, and we had clear liquidity targets above as well. So what I'm looking for now, I'm looking for price to gravitate towards these previous highs. I don't see it reversing before that. And I've also kept this supply zone on for a potential counter trend trade, just because it is a very obvious supply above liquidity. But yeah, for the meantime, I'm just going to look for more buying opportunities up into the liquidity. Next zone I would look at, we have this one right here. I'm also just going to mark on the 15-minute structure, or the most recent 15-minute structure. So it didn't quite tap that zone. Okay, just wants to continue up into this high. There we go. So we've had a sweep of those previous lows into this zone. There isn't any 5-minute structure though, so I'm just going to keep playing price. Right, so you've now swept these lows, swept the 15-minute demand low as well. I'm just going to go back to the 1 hour to see where price could head if that zone breaks. Again, I'm not expecting a reversal here because it didn't take any liquidity out. So yeah, let's just see how price reacts to this level. Okay, this looks pretty nice. So you've had this low taken out. That was the main hourly low as well, just there. Started to see a reaction. Five-minute flipped bullish as well. So you've had grab of these lows, change of character. Could possibly see a retest into demand, and that is going to be the entry if we get that retest. So let's see if that happens. Very messy trade. This would be quite a difficult hold. But again, I don't make break even, so I would still be in this. Nice, there we go. Almost tagged us out, very close. That's why I always cover the low with the stop loss. But yeah, very nice trade. We had a sweep of that previous liquidity, 5-minute change of character, pull back into demand, and then just looking to target a 1 to 3. So let's see if price now can continue up. Again, expecting it to come up and take out these previous highs to the left. Which it has just done, just there. But in this case, as opposed to before, where we grabbed the previous highs and then price started to slow down, breaking some structure, this time you've had a clear push above that high, no real pullbacks, so I'm not looking to short based on this liquidity level anymore, just because I now anticipate that price has flipped bullish. So if it does come into this supply, we'll look for some counter trend sells, but until then, I'm just looking for more buys up into that level. Maybe from here, you've just reacted from that demand. Yeah, there we go. There was a change of character, but there wasn't a valid demand for me to enter from there, which is why I didn't enter. And cool, so price has now traded within our supply zone. So let's have a look and see if we can get some shorts. Obviously these are counter trend. So there we go. You've had a grab of these highs. You've then seen price break lower. I'd want to see probably a retest of this before we look to short. Stops above the high. 1 to 3 target down here. I'm actually going to have slightly smaller stops on this because I don't want to target past this previous low. Because this is a counter trend trade, I only want to really capitalize on a smaller move. There we go. Liquidity swept into supply. Yeah, so this looks good. I'm just going to hold it. There we go. Trade tagged out. If you wanted a discretionary take profit rule, I would target this low, which, there we go, did end up getting hit. We've also sold off with quite a bit of momentum now, so price is probably looking to target some of these previous liquidity levels. But yeah, this video is probably already quite long, so I'm going to save the rest for next time in part 3. And like I said, if you guys do want to see a part 3, make sure to comment below and also like the video so that I know you want to see that. If you want to see some other videos instead, let me know in the comment section below and I can go through those in the next video. Thank you all for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you in the next one.